It was really scary.
Right now, a deadly school shooting has shaken Minneapolis. The possible connection the shooter has to Madison.
And what's in the new gun control legislation that Wisconsin Democrats are introducing to keep college kids safe?
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4. Welcome, everyone. We begin with breaking news about the deadly school shooting in Minneapolis.
At least 2 children are dead. More than a dozen people are hurt after a shooter opened fire at a Catholic school in the city. And we have just learned new information about a potential link the shooter has to Madison. Our Arman Rahman is here to bring us the latest information. Arman?
That's right, Susan and Brady. Law enforcement today has confirmed that the shooter, Robin Westman, released a YouTube video showing off their weapons. And in frames believed to be from the video, the shooter wrote a variety of symbols and names on those weapons, including the name Rupnow on an AR-15. That's the last name of the 15-year-old girl who opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison last December, killing 2 people and injuring 6 more. It is not clear if the guns in the video were the ones used in the shooting, but it is not the first time Rupnow has been connected to another school shooter. Back in January, law enforcement confirmed Rupnow may have been in contact with a school shooter in Nashville on social media. Authorities say that 2 children, an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, were killed in the shooting in Minneapolis. 17 students and staff were injured. Minnesota officials and law enforcement shared the latest information in a press conference just an hour ago.
We need to be doing more than talking. It can't just be words. There needs to be action. And when we have seen school shooting after school shooting, when we have seen churches get shot up by horrible actors, I think the impetus has to be on all of us as leaders to do a whole lot more.
Law enforcement also confirmed to CBS News in Minneapolis that Westman posted a video with a manifesto, which has since been deleted. And in addition to carrying out shootings at Christian schools, both Westman and Rupnow died by suicide.
Arman, thank you. Wisconsin's congressional representatives are offering their condolences, with some calling for action. U.S. Representative Mark Pocan made a post reading in part, "It is the first week back to school for so many kids across America, and we've already had a school shooting that's ended in tragedy. It's time for Congress to grow a spine and act." U.S. Representative Derek Van Orden made a statement as well. His reads, "Horrific news out of Minneapolis. We are praying for the students, faculty, and their families."
And we've also heard from Governor Tony Evers. He responded to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz's post on X about the shooting, saying Wisconsin is keeping our neighbors across the river in our hearts today. The shooting happened just hours before Democratic members of the state legislature announced legislation aimed at prohibiting guns on college campuses, affording them the same gun-free zone categorization as K-12 schools. And during the announcement, Senator Kelda Roys commented on the Minnesota tragedy.
First of all, our thoughts are with everyone who's been impacted by gun violence across this country, and certainly our neighbors in Minneapolis who have seen 3 shootings in the last 24 hours, including one at a school this morning.
As of today, no Republicans have co-sponsored this legislation, and we'll continue providing updates on the shooting right here on News 3 Now. You can receive the news directly to your phone with the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
Let's get a look at your first warn forecast. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano is on the patio with what he's watching. Jacob?
Yeah, it is very nice out here. Pretty much has been the story all week. Temperatures in the lower 70s, but we are seeing some light showers, at least nearby. Right now, our area not really seeing much, but there have been a few showers, and it looks like also a few isolated thunderstorms further to the west across northeast Iowa. These are kind of trickling their way into our region, and we are going to see a chance of rain tonight, although we're not expecting a big rainfall. So looking at the timing of all this, Those light showers out in northeast Iowa, they are expected to dissipate as they move into Wisconsin, but a little bit later in the evening and during the overnight hours, we are going to see more consistent shower activity move through southern Wisconsin. Possibly a few isolated thunderstorms, but this will mostly be in the form of showers. This is going to continue throughout the wee morning hours Thursday, but once we get towards sunrise Thursday, a lot of it will clear out. Maybe some additional light showers in the afternoon, but for the most part, once that rain clears out, and again, it may clear out before sunrise tomorrow, we're expecting pretty dry conditions for the rest of the day, and temperatures are going to remain comfortable. So I'll continue talking more about the comfortable temperatures going forward and give you your full Labor Day forecast coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. An 18-year-old man is dead after a crash in the town of Rock this morning. The crash was at the intersection of South River Road and West Happy Hollow Road just after 4 a.m. The man was driving a truck when he went off-road and crashed into a tree. Rock County deputies pronounced him dead at the scene. No one else was involved in the crash. The name of the victim will be released later.
3 businesses and 2 duplexes have been evacuated after a contractor struck a gas line in Sun Prairie yesterday. Crews responded at about 4 p.m. to a reported gas leak on Main Street, where a contractor was working underground. Firefighters found a small amount of natural gas in several buildings and ordered immediate evacuations of surrounding structures. The leak has been stopped and the buildings are open again. Thankfully, no injuries were reported.
Governor Tony Evers wants the president to issue a disaster declaration for our state in response to the historic flooding that we saw earlier this month. The governor's formal request today follows a damage assessment from emergency management agencies showing Wisconsin suffered more than $33 million in damage. The assessment found more than 1,500 homes were destroyed, leaving families across multiple counties displaced.
In a statement on his request, Governor Evers said in part, "I'm urging President Trump to do the right thing and make the appropriate presidential disaster declaration quickly and without delay." He says the folks whose homes, businesses, schools, and community centers were severely damaged by this severe weather event are counting on this relief.
Vice President J.D. Vance is coming to a steelmaking facility in La Crosse tomorrow to promote the Trump administration's tax and spending bill. Vance will highlight the bill's benefits for the manufacturing industry, as well as tax cuts for working families and businesses. He's visited other swing states, including Ohio, in the last 2 months to the domestic policy bill and to promote what he calls economic wins. Well, next week marks the first day of school for many students in our area, including Sun Prairie.
This year, the district is teaming up with Meta to try to keep students safe on and off school grounds. Tanisha Shaw shows us.
As students head back to school in Sun Prairie, they'll have a new way to use Instagram. Sun Prairie Area School District is collaborating with Instagram's parent company, Meta. Kurt Mold is Sun Prairie's director of media, and he says that he wasn't surprised when Meta reached out to them.
We focus on teaching kids digital citizenship in our classes. That's something that is built into curriculum and lessons, kindergarten through 12th grade.
There's only a handful of districts around the country that's chosen to work with Meta for this collaboration, and Sun Prairie Area School District is one of them.
We want them to be their best selves out there and to understand the risks that are with that. But we also want them to use these tools to uplift one another. We want them to collaborate with each other. We want them to create with each other, including taking the post down. They could just decide to suspend a user's account, all of the things that they would normally do. It just provides our students and our parents and our community access to escalate some of those issues faster.
Reporting in Sun Prairie, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Tanisha, and we will have more on that collaboration tonight at 6.
FEMA workers say we could see a catastrophe with ramifications very similar to that of Hurricane Katrina.
How leadership at the agency that responds to disasters is reacting to the criticism.
Plus, a weak weather system will bring a few showers our way. This looks pretty clouds. Jacob will share when we could potentially see a thunderstorm in his first warn forecast.
Plus, we'll show you the new food you'll be able to get this week at the first Badgers game. All right, here's the thing, everyone. People living and driving in the area around Camp Randall can expect some delays tomorrow before, during, and after the Badgers' home opener. Breeze Terrace, Monroe Street, and North Randall will all be closed at some point tomorrow. After the game, access near Regent Street will be restricted. All cars will have to turn right and outbound to help traffic exit the stadium area. And you can find the specific information about traffic during tomorrow's game on channel3000.com.
The Badgers roster is not the only thing that will look a little different at Camp Randall this year. Team executive chef Jacob Moss walked through some of the key changes and highlights to this year's food and concessions lineup.
A carne asada taco. It's got a chihuahua cheese seared right into the tortilla, which is really nice. We've got a beef bulgogi bowl, so kind of a Korean rice bowl. Same thing available in a wrap, which is great. And then we've got something like known as meatball, so just a giant, great Italian meatballs on top of a bed of mashed potatoes, which is really cool.
Now, along with debuting their new menu items, the team is also expecting to sell 7,000 brats and 9,000 hot dogs in their Week 1 game opener tomorrow night.
I'll have one of everything. Yeah. Ahead of the game, News 3 Now will air a special show with everything Badgers fans need to know.
Wisconsin Game Day will air right after News 3 Now at 6 tomorrow night. Eric Franke and sports director Andrew Banstra will co-host the show, and they join us now with a preview of that coverage. Hi, guys.
Oh, I can't stop thinking about the food. I used to get excited about the press box brats. I used to get, that's quite a layout.
It makes you hungry.
It has changed.
It's so exciting. Football's back. Everybody's can't wait. And before we talk, Drew, about the team and the expectations for the season, Eric, tell us a little bit about the special and what fans can expect tomorrow night.
Well, it's great for me to work with Andrew as he launches his time as our sports director. This is, I don't know, my 28th Badger opening game in Madison. He's ready to run through a brick wall and play for Fickle tomorrow night, I think. But we really want to get fans not only acquainted with the team, but of the surroundings, how things are changing down there. Camp Randall's a different place. I had the opportunity to go in and talk to Chris McIntosh about the new facility that's going up right next to the facility. We're talking to J.P. Cullen, how they're making it safe for fans. You guys talked a little bit about the streets that are going to be closed. It's going to be a different place, but it is still Badger football, and it's a magical time of year in Madison.
It really is, and it's a time of year that's incredibly important for this program. Luke Fickell heads into his third year with more questions than answers in his last 2 years, and year 3 is going to be what it all comes down to. He says that his team is not only his most experienced group so far, but one that has returned to their true identity, which would be the run game. Expect a whole lot more running of the football with this year's team, and that will finally be on display tomorrow. There's been a lot of talk, and this time of year there's always a whole lot of talk, a whole lot of we're going to be really good, better than we've ever been. But as the team has said, nobody really knows what happens until they go out and show it tomorrow.
Yeah, and you mentioned some of those things about the team this year, and I would say even if you're not a sports expert, there is something exciting about cheering on the Badgers. It brings a whole community together. So what's special about this time?
I think when I look at this team, it's the schedule, right? I mean, Luke Fickell could be coach of the year and lose 6 games. I mean, the schedule is so tough. And, you know, everybody has such high expectations of him after he was hired, and he's a great football coach. But it is difficult because UW is still an academics first institution. They're not one of these people, one of these schools that throws $1 million at every player in the transfer portal. But that's the other thing. We all got to get used to new names every year. The quarterback was Maryland's quarterback last year. That was unheard of 20 years ago.
It's one game at a time. So what do we think about the first matchup with Miami of Ohio? What should we be paying attention to?
Yeah, so there's some advantages for Luke Fickell. Miami of Ohio is a school that Luke Fickell's really familiar with. When he was at Cincinnati, he played them 5 times in his 6 years, and he also tried to get their current quarterback to come to Wisconsin before last season. So he's really familiar with a lot of names on this team. Ultimately, it should be a Badger beatdown, but even in these non-conference early season games in the last few years, they've all been really close. So to show me that this team's different, like they say they are, it's got to be a blowout, would you think?
Well, I think, yeah, maybe, but Miami's a good football team, and they're well coached. Chuck Martin's a great coach that they have, and Miami's the cradle of coaches. A lot of people don't know that. It was the place where Woody Hayes got his start, and Ara Parseghian, all these historic great coaches. They got good football down there in Oxford, Ohio. They're a contender every year in the Mid-American Conference. A lot of those guys that play in the MAC have a chip on their shoulder. They were guys that felt they should have played in the Big Ten. So they'll be here, they'll be hungry, they'll be well coached. I think it's going to be a closer game. It's kind of hard to get the offense going in those first games, but I think it's going to be a very fun game to watch. We'll learn a lot about the Badgers tomorrow night.
And it's one of the greatest environments in college
really
football.
is, no
Camp
doubt.
Randall Stadium, a night game. Weather's going to be perfect. It's going to be
Well, and this
great.
is right now, at least, subject to change. The only night game on the schedule. They've got a light show scheduled. You have fans will get wristbands when they go on. It's going to be like Coldplay all over again. So it's going to be quite a show tomorrow. It should be a ton of fun for fans.
Tomorrow night, right after the news at 6 o'clock. Oh, and then you have a streaming show.
Yeah,
after.
this guy's going to break down the
Brady,
team. He knows a heck of a lot more about the team. I can tell you about the team in '99. He knows about this team a lot better than I do. So we're going to have a little online streaming show on our Channel 3000 Plus platform. Should be fun.
Very good. Thanks, guys. Good luck tomorrow.
On Wisconsin. Here we go. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
And let's get a look at our first warn forecast. Like Susan said, the weather's looking great tomorrow, Jacob.
Yeah, highs are going to continue to be in the 70s, and although we have a chance of rain tonight, it's mostly going to be during the overnight hours. Not much rain in general going forward, especially over Labor Day weekend. Now, looking at the current radar, we're starting to see some of those light showers kind of get close to western Wisconsin. I do expect those initial showers right now to kind of dissipate as they move in, but there's a little bit of a better chance of rainfall later in the evening and into the early overnight hours. Not going to see a big rainfall event tonight, but we could see a few scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, maybe some small pockets of heavy rain, but general precipitation will be pretty low, and a lot of that will clear out by Thursday, by late morning Thursday, and then we could see some additional light showers, mainly south of Madison Thursday afternoon. But taking a look at when the Badger football game will be occurring, very clear skies are expected, maybe a few clouds, but otherwise don't expect to see much in the form of rain. And in general, that lack of rainfall is going to continue for the most part through Labor Day. Might see a little bit of an increase in rain chances after Labor Day, but Labor Day weekend is looking very, very good. Now, looking at the temperatures, the cloudy skies tonight will allow temperatures to stay near 60. The last couple of mornings, the lows have been in the lower 50s to upper 40s. Tonight into tomorrow morning, they'll be about 10 degrees warmer, so noticeably warmer in the morning, but afternoon should be pretty similar. Lower 70s, maybe middle to upper 70s further west, so a little bit warmer for you folks in southwest Wisconsin. And as I mentioned, very nice for the Badger football game, just a few clouds here and there, maybe a light breeze. Definitely bring a jacket that could drop into the upper 50s by the time we get towards the end of the game. And then looking at Labor Day weekend, very dry, very nice, plenty of sunshine, highs in the 70s. Can't completely rule out an isolated shower, but for the most part, it is going to be dry with better chances of rain once we get towards the middle of next week, and then towards the end of next week, it may be even cooler than what we saw to start this week.
Thank you, Jacob. Well, don't forget to send us your plant questions later on Live at 4. Lisa Briggs is in the house. She's from the Bruce Company, of course, and she will join us to answer them. For a chance to receive plant advice from Lisa, send your inquiries to tips@channel3000.com.
Still ahead today at 4, several FEMA employees are on administrative leave effective immediately.
What one of those employees has to say about the reasons why. Looking at Wall Street now, the Dow jumped 147 points, the NASDAQ is up 46 points, and the S&P 500 is up 15 points.
The FDA has approved an updated COVID-19 vaccine, but will limit its use for many Americans, including children. The new shots are approved for all seniors, plus young adults and kids with at least one high-risk health condition, like asthma. That rule means that millions of Americans will have trouble proving their risk, and millions more may no longer get the vaccine. Pfizer's vaccine will no longer be available for kids under the age of 5. Updated vaccines will start shipping immediately.
While Wisconsin awaits a potential emergency declaration from the president in response to FEMA's assessment of this month's flood damage, the agency is under pressure.
FEMA put several of its staff members who signed a letter criticizing the president's overhaul of the agency on administrative leave. Julia Benbrook reports from the White House.
In the letter titled Katrina Declaration, the group accused President Donald Trump and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, whose department oversees FEMA, of undermining the agency's capabilities and appointing unqualified leadership. The letter warns that critical reforms enacted after the failed response to Hurricane Katrina are being unraveled as the Trump administration looks to drastically shrink FEMA's role. More than 180 current and former FEMA employees signed on to the letter, but just over 30 signed it publicly. Among them, program analyst Virginia Case, who tells CNN she received notice Tuesday evening that she had been placed on paid leave and knows of at least 6 others who received similar messages. In a statement, she said she was disappointed but not surprised, adding, "I'm also proud of those who stood up, regardless of what it might mean for our jobs. The public deserves to know what is happening because lives and communities will suffer if this continues." A FEMA spokesperson seemed to brush off the group's concerns, writing, quote, "Our obligation is to survivors, not to protecting broken systems. Under the leadership of Secretary Noem, FEMA will return to its mission of assisting Americans at their most vulnerable." This echoes actions earlier this summer when the Trump administration suspended roughly 140 employees from the Environmental Protection Agency, days after they signed a public letter raising concerns about the treatment of federal workers and the administration's regulations on climate and public health. At the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
In our next half hour, we'll bring you the latest information on the Minneapolis school shooting.
And Maddie Heimsch brings us an update from day 2 of the retrial of a man accused of homicide in Madison.
From News 3 Now, this is breaking news.
We begin this half hour again with the breaking news of a deadly school shooting in Minneapolis.
At least 2 children are dead. More than a dozen people are hurt after a shooter opened fire at a Catholic school in the city. And we have just learned new information about a link to Madison. Arman Rahman is here with the latest information. Arman?
That's right, Susan and Brady. As the nation reels from the 44th school shooting so far this year, we've learning of a disturbing connection to the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School last December. The shooter in Minneapolis, Robin Westman, posted a 7-minute video on their YouTube page showing off their weapons, including an AR-15 with the name Rupnow written on it. As you know, that is the last name of the 15-year-old girl who opened fire at ALCS in Madison last December, killing 2 people and injuring 6 more. It's not clear if the guns in the video were the ones used in the shooting, but it's not the first time Rupnow has been connected to another school shooter. Back in January, law enforcement confirmed Rupnow may have been in contact with a school shooter in Nashville on social media. Authorities say 2 children, an 8-year-old and 10-year-old, were killed in the shooting in Minneapolis. 17 students and staff were injured. Law enforcement also confirmed to CBS News in Minneapolis that Westman posted a video with a manifesto, which has since been deleted.
We are also aware of a manifesto that the shooter had timed to be released on YouTube. This manifesto appeared to show him at the scene and included some disturbing writings. That content has since been taken down with the assistance of the FBI, and it now remains under active review by our investigators.
Today, representatives from Abundant Life tell me they did not want to speak on camera to avoid triggering anyone within their school community, but they released a statement which reads, "Our hearts are broken to learn of the tragedy at Annunciation Catholic School and Church in Minneapolis today. As a school that has experienced tragedy firsthand, we understand what they are going through and the challenges of the road ahead. Our Challenger family holds the Annunciation and Minneapolis communities in prayer, offers our support, and stands in solidarity with them at this difficult time." And in addition to both shooting up Christian schools, both Rupnow and Westman died by suicide at the scenes.
Armand, thank you. And we'll continue to provide updates on this story right here on News 3 Now. You can always receive updates directly to your phone as soon as we get them with the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
And let's get a look at our first warn forecast. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano is on the patio. How's it looking out there, Jacob?
Well, just like it has been for much of the week, the weather is very nice here in southern Wisconsin. Plenty of clear skies and very, very comfortable temperatures. But we are going to see some rain tonight. And looking at the current radar, you can kind of see some of those showers out in Iowa. I do expect these showers to dissipate a little bit, but still possibly bring some rainfall to far southwest Wisconsin. But there's going to be a better chance of rainfall once we get later into the night, as some passing showers and a few isolated thunderstorms will be possible. The good news news is that this is mostly going to occur overnight, and a lot of it will clear out before sunrise Thursday. Might see some lingering showers for areas south of Madison and potentially a little bit more redevelopment in the afternoon, but for the most part, not going to see much rain during the daytime for the rest of today or tomorrow as well. And so this evening, at least for Madison, not expect to see that rainfall until around midnight, and it looks like most of the rain will occur from midnight to 6 a.m. So 60s for this evening, only dropping to around 60 tonight, so it will be a bit warmer compared to the last couple of nights. And then for tomorrow, expect a lot of dry conditions again with highs similarly in the lower 70s. But I'll talk more detail about your Labor Day weekend forecast coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. Now to an update on the murder of 10-year-old Lily Peters. Today, a judge granted 17-year-old Carson Peters Berger's request to change the trial's venue. Peters Berger is charged with 1 count of first-degree homicide, 1 count of first-degree sexual assault, and 1 count of first-degree child sexual assault. The charges stem from the 2022 killing of Peters in Chippewa Falls. It's not clear yet whether the court will bring in an outside jury or if the case will go to another jurisdiction. A decision on those questions is expected within 30 days. To continuing coverage today, it marks Day 2 of the retrial of Devontae Gafford.
Prosecutors say Gafford shot and killed a 20-year-old 2 years ago outside of the long-troubled Harmony apartment complex in Madison. Our Maddie Heimsch has been covering the retrial all week, and she is live outside the Dane County Courthouse this afternoon with what we learned today. Maddie?
It was a day of continuous testimony. We heard from acquaintances of Devon Grant, the victim, who were there on the day of the shooting. We also heard from family members of Devontae Gafford. I do want to make a note that condition of the court proceedings is that we protect the identity of those civilian witnesses, so we'll only be showing testimony of officials. That's police officers, investigators, detectives. But I do want to show you now testimony from one of those detectives, City of Madison detective, who provided some context to the gunfire seen in surveillance footage that was shown as evidence.
We heard about this alleyway and return fire that had occurred. There was return fire that's captured on at least one of the pieces of camera footage, correct?
That is correct.
There's multiple shell casings on both sides of that alleyway, correct?
That is also correct.
Now playing.
You hear their attorneys taking a look at the scene from July 13th of 2023. Gafford facing charges of first-degree recklessly endangering safety and first-degree intentional homicide, both as a party to a crime from the events of that day. And coming up on News 3 Now at 5 and 6, I'll provide more details from the stand today, including some of that surveillance footage you just heard referred to. For now, reporting live in downtown Madison, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
Maddie, thank you. Well, still ahead on Live at 4, the Packers roster is set, subject to some changes.
News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde tells us who fans are hoping to see the Pack add when we're back.
And later, some showery weather ahead. Will any rain chance this week impact the Badgers game? Jacob tells us in his forecast. The Packers roster is just about set, but fans are more focused on the potential for a specific trade.
Our senior Packers writer Jason Wilde brings us the latest update from Green Bay.
So the Packers' 53-man roster is set, for the most part, subject to change. Their 17-player practice squad is set, for the most part, subject to change. But it seems to me that the Packers fans I've been interacting with for most of the day are most interested in whether the Packers would actually trade for Micah Parsons, the disgruntled Dallas Cowboys edge rusher who is unhappy with his contract situation in Big D. Brian Gutekunst, the Packers GM, got several questions about that, including a philosophical one from me, and he did not rule out the possibility. Now, he cannot talk specifically about Parsons because he's on someone else's roster, but don't forget that Brian Gutekunst in his past was willing to consider making big swing trades. In fact, he was in the conversation and made an offer for Khalil Mack when Khalil Mack was traded from the Raiders to the Bears. So if you're one of those Packers fans out there very excited about the possibility, don't give up hope yet, but be careful with your hopes. That's it from here for now. We've got all the coverage of everything Packers on channel3000.com for free. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter, which delivers our Packers coverage to your inbox every single day. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Jason. The Packers, the Badgers, our sports folks are busy.
Big weekend, yeah.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, Lisa Briggs joins us to answer your plant questions. You can submit those to tips@channel3000.com.
There's still time to submit a question, and later the events you can look forward to this Labor Day weekend. That's coming up in the 608. Well, if you haven't yet, there's still time to send us your plant questions.
Yeah, you can do that at tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs is here to get those questions answered.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Lisa.
Nice to see you.
Beautiful weather.
Oh, isn't it great?
Yeah.
Perfect for planting stuff.
I just asked Lisa if the pumpkins are out yet at the Bruce Company.
Not yet.
Quite yet.
Not quite yet. Another couple of weeks, I think.
Okay.
Well, we do have a few questions. Rena wants to know, she says, I have a spider plant that is huge, throwing out tendrils and has several leaves that are showing brown tips. It's already in a very large pot. She doesn't want to replant it because she doesn't have the space for a bigger pot. Relatable. Wondering if she can cut it back and like an outdoor bush to get it under control again.
So, Rena, certainly you can sort of cut back some of those plants if you think it's getting a little crowded. Sometimes brown tips on leaves for spider plants is an accumulation of salts. So if you have it in an old pot and you haven't repotted it in a while, that might be. So let your water settle out of the tap like overnight before you use it. The other thing would be is that it is not a good time to repot it, even if you wanted to or had the wherewithal. But next spring you can do that and split it apart and put it in smaller pots, which would sort of solve your problem.
Okay.
But you're going to want to wait to do that until the spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our next question is from Peter, and he said he has a couple of 2-foot-high boxwoods, and the variety is Sprinter. Have you ever heard of that variety?
That must be a new one.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, it is.
And then what else did he say about it?
He wants to move them.
That's right. Yes, well done.
No,
Yes.
Peter, please don't move your boxwood now. The window to move evergreens is really end of July into early August, since evergreens don't go completely dormant in the winter, and if they're not establishing properly, then that leaf surface, especially on broadleaf evergreens like boxwood, is really susceptible to any dry winter weather and also drying winds. So wait until the spring. Once the ground starts to thaw, you can get your shovel in it and it's not super wet. That would be the time you'd want to move your boxwoods.
Okay, great.
Well, Becky says, I transplanted a 150-year-old Christmas cactus. That's an old one.
Yikes.
That she got for her mom 3 years ago, and it's steadily been dropping leaves. Not really sure why that is.
Okay.
She says that she waters it once it gets dry and has been putting it close to the sun so it's getting equal day and equal night. It hasn't bloomed in at least 3 years. She's wondering if she's killing it. Can you help her out?
Okay, so let's start first with the equal day, equal night situation. To get Christmas cactus to bloom, they can withstand some chillier temperatures, so put it outside. And it can stay outside till the nights are, in the lower 40s. It'll be fine. The real trick, though, for Christmas or Thanksgiving cactus is that they need to work through the days shortening and nights lengthening. So when it's in the house, and this is true for everybody who's got them out there, put it in a room that you don't use at night, like an extra bedroom, something that has sun in the daytime, of course, but something that is dark at night, because that's what's going to trigger flower bud production. As far as leaves dropping off, when Christmas cactus get really old, sometimes the soil gets a little depleted, and it might mean that it just needs to be refreshed. If you haven't done that for a while, you could carefully take it out of the pot, brush some of the old soil off, and put some new cactus soil in there, and then make sure that it dries out between waterings. Make sure that if you have it in some kind of tray, that water isn't accumulating in the tray and keeping the soil wet.
You're always the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much,
You guys
Lisa.
too.
And thanks for your questions, everybody. Thanks, Lisa. We'll see you soon.
You're welcome.
Well, Lisa got your plant questions answered. Now let's get some answers about your forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano.
Well, the story is that we're going to continue to see very nice conditions as a whole. We'll see some showers tonight into early tomorrow, but for the most part, not going to see a lot of rain with tonight's rainfall, and over the next several days following it, we're not going to see much rain in general, especially over Labor Day weekend, where we're expecting plenty of sunshine and highs will continuously be in the 70s. Now, looking at that rainfall again, starting to see some of those light showers kind of push into far southwest Wisconsin. The better chance of rain will come a little bit later in the evening, especially for Madison and surrounding areas, where we will see a few passing showers, maybe some isolated thunderstorms. But if we do see any pockets of heavy rainfall, that rain will be very brief. And once we get towards sunrise Thursday, a lot of it will clear out of the area. Might see some additional showers for areas south of Madison in the afternoon, but Madison and areas to the north and east expected to be completely dry once that rain clears out. And again, it may clear out before sunrise tomorrow. Now, the cloudy skies overnight will help keep the temperatures mild tonight. Lows will be around 60, so a warmer morning compared to the last couple of mornings, but the afternoon should be very similar. Lower 70s for Madison, maybe middle to upper 70s further west, as there does look to be maybe a little bit more sunshine. And then for Thursday night, the Badger football game is looking very nice, especially very good football weather for as a whole. 60s to start the game, upper 50s to end the game, maybe a light breeze. Definitely bring a jacket. And then for Labor Day weekend, it's also looking very, very good. Plenty of sunshine, highs in the 70s. Might see some chilly mornings, but for the most part, very, very nice over Labor Day weekend. And we may continue to see these nice temperatures after Labor Day, although there is some suggestion that we could see even cooler temperatures towards the end of next week following some rainfall on Wednesday.
Thank you, Jacob. We have some more breaking news just into our newsroom. A federal grand jury has indicted former Sun Prairie West High School Dean of Students, Robert Gilkey-Meisegeier. He's charged with producing, attempting to produce, and possessing child sex abuse material. If convicted on all of the charges, he could go to prison for several decades. We'll be right back. Here we are. We've made it to Wednesday, and we are already working for the long holiday weekend in the 608.
Josh Breiter is planning out the weekend for us.
Whether you're ready for the end of summer or not, Labor Day weekend has arrived. Here are 3 things for you to do with your family this weekend in the 608. The end of summer means the return of the Taste of Madison. This Labor Day weekend event runs Saturday and Sunday in downtown. This is the largest picnic on Capitol Square with free admission. The nonprofit event features 80-plus food vendors, a variety of beverage options, and live music and entertainment. The event runs Saturday 2 to 9 and Sunday 11 to 7. Well, the final weekend of summer also means it's time for the Iowa County Fair, which has become a staple Labor Day weekend get-together over the years. The Iowa County Fair draws around 20,000 attendees for the 5-day event. Many generations of families have been participating over the years. The fair starts Thursday and ends on Labor Day. Also happening this weekend is Paoli Art in the Park. This is at Paoli Park. It runs Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 4. This annual event features local and regional artists who create anything from paintings, metal and wood sculptures, glass, fiber, photography, and ceramics. For more happenings this weekend in the 608, just go to channel3000.com. In the 608, Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. A lot of fun things to do on this weekend.
Yeah, and a lot of people start to get bummed out that summer is coming to an end, but there's still a lot of nice weather. Yeah, nice weather ahead, though.
Yeah, and all the activities going on this weekend. The weather will be perfect for pretty much everything. Good. Plenty of sunshine, highs in the 70s. We'll see a chance of rain tonight, but overall not going to see much rain from this round of precipitation. Might see some more for the middle of next week, but Labor Day weekend, I mean, hard to get better than that.
That's true. Looks great. Thank you, Jacob. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow on Live at 4, we'll bring you special coverage of the Badgers' first football game of the season ahead of our Badger Game Day show. And coming up on News 3 Now at 5, Maddie Heimsch brings us a live update on the retrial of a man charged with homicide in Madison. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. Remember, you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.